Stay watching to see how I use this cheap sphere turning jig to turn this block of wood into this sphere. So first of all, let's talk about the jig. Now, I said it's a cheap jig. It is cheap compared to the rest of the jigs on the market. This, when I bought it, I didn't actually purchase this. This was a Christmas present to me from my parents. You can purchase this on eBay, and I believe when they purchased it, it was around the £80 mark. I'll be honest, for this video, I actually haven't checked to see how much they are. So they may have gone up in price. And I will put the price up up here somewhere, or in the description, and a link to the eBay shop that sells these. Like I say, this is possibly the cheapest jig on the market for sphere turning. So let's do a quick overview of the jig. So here we have the cutting tool. It's ground high speed steel. When it comes in the post, it isn't sharp. It's ground, the angle's ground, but it isn't sharp. Mainly due to the packaging and getting through the post safely. So you will need to sharpen this tool. You've got the holder for the tool holder basically, which then attaches into this part. And this is your height adjustment. So you start off higher than the piece of wood and you wind this down until you start cutting. And then each time you've made a cut, you wind it down again until you basically make the sphere. And this handle at the back rotates the tool around the top of the workpiece to make the sphere. Very simple. The body, as you can see, this has a white line on both sides, and this is for an alignment to get this part of the tool on the center height of your machine. And this is the tool post, and this ring here is to set your height in your tool post so it repeats every time you use it. I've set this already, so every time I put it into my tool post, my banjo I should say, this will be on center height every time I use this tool, unless it gets moved, which hopefully it won't. Or I need to move it if I get a new machine with a different center height. When you order this, you have to state the size of your the tool post, your original tool post you use in your banjo, so the supplier can give you the right tool post, and then you attach it to the tool when it arrives. So it's very simple. It's nicely machined, not very, but a very good quality machining piece. It's got lovely dovetails, if I can show you in the top here, that you use with the sliding mechanism. It's a very good fit and a very nice smooth action. So that's about it really for the actual tool itself. Very simple, very easy to use, and very easy to set up as well. Takes a little bit of time, but it is easy to set up. So apart from that, should we get on with some turning? So first of all, I need to turn this square down to a cylinder. So what I need to do now is measure the diameter, and then from this face I need to measure that measurement across to this face and mark it. So as you can see, I've measured from the front face to this mark here. That's going to be my length. This is going to be, so it's going to be that length there. I now need to measure halfway to give me my center line. So there's my center line. So this center line isn't going to be removed, but what I'm going to do is just to help the severe turning jig, or the ball turning jig, just so it doesn't have to do so much work, is just take the corner off of here just before the center line, and then do the same this side and make this cove so the tool can go into this part here. So we have our rough shape. It's not pretty, so let's make it nicer. So I've put the jig in the banjo. I've now got this slide upright, so it's in the vertical position. The tool is aligned onto the center line that I marked earlier. The banjo, using the two black marks as witnesses, I can now move so this one aligns with this edge of the bed and this one aligns with this edge of the bed. That will ensure that the banjo is square to the workpiece. So just to confirm that this is now square to the workpiece, I'm going to get my square and just lay it up against register off of the bed, and have a look down here, and it's perfectly square. So it's just a quick reference guide, so you have a perfect setup every time. So now, as you can see, what I've done is I've raised the tool up using this knob, so it's not cutting anywhere. And as we start cutting, it will then start producing the sphere. So let's do that. Methinks not. So I've now got this all roughed out fairly, well, it's nowhere nearly close to a sphere, to be honest, but it's roughed out so the tool in the jig doesn't have to do so much work. At this point, I'd like to say this is my second attempt at this because I mucked up. That's what my first attempt was, and the reason being is that whereas I thought this was set on the tool post at the centre height, I didn't check it thinking it was on the centre height, and it turned out not to be on the centre height, and it was lower than the centre height. But that is one thing you can do, because obviously, as you can see, it turned more of an egg shape. And in the instructions that you get with this jig, it does actually say if you lower the jig, if you lower it below the centre height, you can actually turn egg shapes. And what else does it say? Ovals and things like that. So you don't have to actually turn a complete ball shape, you can have egg shapes. So a lesson learned, but now we're going to turn a sphere. So there you go, our perfectly formed sphere. And all we would need to do is just grab a piece of sandpaper, and there it is. Bring you in for a bit of a closer look. Now, because this is cheap wood, there are a few indentations where the tools ripped out the wood, but apart from that, sorry, I'll put my visor up, it might make a bit better of the commentary there. And say, apart from these little bits that have been gouged out, basically mainly because of the type of wood it is rather than the tool, that is your completed sphere. Sorry, I'll say ball, it's much easier. So what you could do now is you can leave this and tidy all this part up to make it all nice and flowing and details on it, and it could become a top of a newel post or something like that. Or you could cut off here, put it between two cups, so then you can finish this part off so it's a complete ball, and finish it however you wanted. But that's how the sphere turning jig works. So if you're on a bit of a budget and you want to do sphere turning without having to do it old style, as I would call it, which takes a lot of practice and a lot of time to, I believe, in my opinion, to perfect. So yeah, so get yourself one of these. It's a great piece of kit and works really well. So this is the second time I've used this, and this was the very first one that this is the very first one I actually done with this jig. As you can see, the finish is a lot better. There's no nicks or chunks taken out of it, and it's really good, especially if you want to do a bit of colouring on it with some stains and things like that. That would look absolutely brilliant. So thank you for watching. If this is something of interest to you and you appreciate what I've done, then please subscribe and hit the notification button. If you need any more, if you've got a question and you want an answer, then just put it down in the comments and I'll answer as best as possible. And like I say, the price and the where you can purchase this jig from will be down in the description. So thanks you very much for subscribing. If you're an original subscriber, if you're a new subscriber, thank you very much again. So it's a goodbye from me.